Hello, hello out there in the listening world. I am Josh.
And I'm Marichen.
Happy Record Store Day, y'all. Drop one.
Woo! Party!
Yeah, we're exhausted. I don't know how we're
Oh,
staying awake. We're standing up. I don't even know how we're awake right now. We're both exhausted as hell.
yeah. Trust me, I don't know how I'm still going because I've still got other errands to do this afternoon, and I'm like, I'm dreading them. I'm putting them off. If I'm being honest.
It's gonna be nice. It is gonna be nice when you finally get some sleeps. But today is, of course, a very special day. It is Record Store Day. And this is a day where there are special items that come out that we get to celebrate our local independent record stores. You should always celebrate your record stores, not only on Record Store Day, but all the time. And, we hype this day up, for ever and ever and ever. But it's nice when you actually have a really fun day. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, like I've been so excited for this. I mean, since the last record store day. Honestly, it's my favorite day of the year because
Same.
not only do I get to go and support the local store that I already support every day throughout the year, but I mean, I get these really awesome releases that are one of a kind. You're probably never going to see most of these again. And even like the first release stuff that they do that gets released later on, it's never like the exact same color variant, or there's like something special about the Record Store Day one that you're not going to get in those second and third runs of whatever it is. But it's just so fun, and you get to meet so many wonderful people and have conversations with great people, and it was so fun. Today I actually met a lady who was shopping for a friend in Texas because he didn't have a store close to him, and she lives where I live, and was like, okay, well, I didn't even know that this was like a thing. So she learned about it yesterday, and she got thrown into it. She was like, I'm here for this, this, and this. And, it was so fun because everybody kind of pulled together to help her, to tell her, how it works, because she had no idea. And so she just kind of got thrown into everything. But she was like, I really wanted to help him out. So I was like, yeah, sure, I'll come. And it was so much fun. There were so many really nice people there. I also did have a really crazy experience, which I'll kind of mention whenever we go through what we picked up and stuff. But I had a really fun day. Did you have fun, I assume?
Yes, I had a really fun day. And that just warms my heart. That wholesome moment that you just described warms my heart. Because it's not like the Black Friday of, like, say, Walmart, where everybody's doing the people's elbow to get the Connect game.
Mm-hmm.
Swear to God, this happened to my mom. So we were both going in on Black Friday years and years ago. This was back before you had to wait in line to look at the Blu-rays. They've softened up. But it would be where, we would stand and, look at the Blu-rays, this and that. This was before I knew there was a Black Friday Record Store Day. So this is before I've been going to Record Store Day. But this was about the time the Kinect to come out, and I had gotten one, and I was just looking, at the games. I thought this would be kind of cool just to try one or two for Christmas. Thank God I dodged that bullet, because the Kinect is a piece of garbage. That's another conversation for another day. I digress. So she was in the back. I was waiting in line for something else. She was in the back. And there was mad chaos, and she told me someone stage dived over people to try and get to the Kinect games. So.
Oh, yeah. I have a good story that we'll talk about whenever we get to a certain record, so I'm going to leave that just out here. It's really fun. I know I've mentioned to you before, but I don't know if I mentioned it on the podcast. There's a group chat that I'm in the vinyl community with some people who are all in their early 20s. And we talk basically all the time. And today we were talking about Record Store Day, and I was telling them what happened, and they were all cracking up at me, and they thought it was hilarious. And I'm like, I'm glad you all think this is funny, because I did not think it was funny at all. I'm kind of laughing now, but at the time I was like, what in the hell?
Now, I can tell your accent is coming in. You have a story to tell.
Yeah, I'm excited. Like, I'm kind of excited to tell it, but like, it's so weird, and I'm just so excited for the stuff I got and everything. So
same here. I was talking to Martin, our store owner, and we got to the conversation of I was talking to somebody who I had not seen in line before, and he said he was kind of in the area. He hadn't been there until recently last year. And, we were just talking, looking and seeing. My shop, unfortunately, didn't get a bunch of things. But, you know me, I have alternative lists of alternative lists. There's not anything on, like, beat down the door and be like, oh, no. Except for that Volbeat. That Volbeat I had to get, which I did, and I'm happy. But we were talking about that. We were talking about, the current state of the world and people trying to get back to work, and then his belief on what he should fairly pay his employees. And it was nice? I'm vaccinated. The entire store staff was vaccinated. It actually felt like one of the old record store days of yore, where there were a bunch of people standing in line, excited, getting ready, just chit-chatting a little bit. Saw the same people that you normally see. And what's funny is the people that were directly behind us, they said, y'all are slacking. You were much more ahead of us than last time. What, did you sleep in?
Yeah, y'all sleeping in over there, slacking, shoot. But it did feel normal at my store, too.
Yeah, it's really nice.
All of his staff is vaccinated, and, my husband and I are vaccinated. And so yesterday, the mask mandate lifted if you're vaccinated here in Kentucky. And it's kind of been like, since vaccinations have, been being handed out and all that kind of jazz. If you've been vaccinated and had your second shot and you're like 2 weeks out, you haven't had to wear your mask, but it's opened up even a bit more now since yesterday. And so it was so nice to like actually see everybody's faces, because you've like had your face covered up the past couple times, and so it was just so nice to chat with everybody and kind of feel like normal. Although I did like that he kept it to like a minimum amount of people, and only let so many people in the shop, which I thought it was just so much easier because he has such a small shop. And so it was always really hard to go on record store day, because when he let people in, he would just let everybody come in. And of course, everybody's going for the record store day titles, and they're like kind of snaked throughout his whole store. So it's hard to find the checkout line or people that are looking. And so it really clogged up the whole process of getting people in and out. And so COVID, I guess, was kind of a blessing for them, because they were able to find something that worked for them, where they let 8 people in, and you get to shop the record store day stuff and buy your stuff, and then the next group gets to come in. And it's just so nice that you don't have people just standing on top of you, and you're able to shop kind of seamlessly. And it felt like old times, and I was so excited for that.
It actually felt like old times with me, because, you had to go around people. People were like, hey, have you seen this? Oh, it's over there. Go over there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, the atmosphere was just so nice to see everybody laid back, getting ready to enjoy it. Those people who were not vaccinated, actually did use the mask, or, no judgment or anything. Or if they even were vaccinated, they felt like they needed to still wear the mask. They still wore the mask, It was just really nice. Martin organized it really nicely as well. It's different than the way he organized it before. I got confused on a couple of things, but there was a lot in this drop, if you really think about it. So having things switched up was kind of really nice in the way things were laid out. I got everything except one that I had wanted, and then we'll go into that when we go into what we got. But it was just nice to feel like a normal record store day, even though the normal I'm used to is it's 8 a.m. for an opening, and I'm up before the ass crack of dawn, waiting in line for like a free breakfast at like 5 in the morning or 6 in the morning.
Like me.
But it was great because, I was 8th and 9th in line, which was great. It got in and got out. And then I'm actually glad we're recording this early afternoon-ish on Record Store Day. I actually have plans. Bennett Wales, who I think we talked about before on this channel, I know at least talked about him before on here. He has, a band. He also does his own solo music and everything. Go listen to Favorite Song by Bennett Walker Wales. Definitely, I highly recommend that. He did his own solo song this past year. It's really great. But I'm so used to him in the morning, bringing out his acoustic guitar, playing some of his hits, playing some acoustic songs, to me, Record Store Day is the free breakfast buffet that used to happen, Bennett Wales singing Midnight Special on his acoustic guitar, and then just having the atmosphere of everybody being together, But we might never get that back, but it felt pretty damn close to what was that old atmosphere today, and I'm so happy about that. What I'm also kind of happy about is I'm canceling a pre-order because I spent way too damn much on this first drop, and I'm probably going to skip the second drop because I spent way too much money. But I'm happy. But also, I have life stuff that I spent money on. Do you want me to elaborate on that before we go on to what we picked up?
Yeah, sure.
So I don't know if I told you, but my tub cracked. I think I might have told you that.
Yeah, I was talking about my tub surround too.
Yeah. So we were going to get estimates. We got a guy coming in yesterday. I asked for yesterday and Monday off to make this particular Record Store Day a celebration, and I'm so glad I did that. I think it made this day even more special. But we had a guy come in, and his estimate was just so good. Like, how, you feel really good about a person when they walk in, and, the company, they're not, trying to rip you off or anything like that. So, I'm getting a nice walk-in shower, and it was only a difference of, $700 for matte black fixtures versus silver fixtures. And I got it in a really nice color. It's lifetime guaranteed, first of all. If I, heaven forbid, decide to sell this place, I can then pass it on one time to the next owner. And what sold me on that is if they have to rip out the old surround and, do some new plumbing work, right? Mm-hmm. No matter what they find behind there, it is one fixed price. So if they have to replace wood, if there's water damage back there that has to be fixed, they will fix that. It is included in the price. I'm like, I don't want to hear anybody else. This is amazing. I haven't scheduled it yet, but I'm not going to say how much it is. I'll tell you privately off the recording, but you know how much bathroom repairs typically tend to be. So
I feel you. I'm right there with you.
And on top of that, we had a water shutoff valve put in. So I have a water shutoff valve at the street. But let's say, heaven forbid, it's snowing out, or if it's flooded, I can't go down to the street and shut off the water. Heaven forbid. So for about $500, we had a shutoff valve put in, and it's nice. It's just like a quick copper shutoff valve that I can easily I can literally turn off the water in the house with a flick of a finger. It's nice. So when that time comes that I have to put in the shower, they can shut off the water like that. Now, also, I've been having problems on my street with parking because have I told you about the lakefront property that I have? Have I gone into that? Uh-huh. So for new listeners who might not have listened to the original recordings that we did when we were first learning about doing this, when there's a nice downpour, if there's not proper drainage or something is blocking the drainage, I live in the back of my plan. And if water just decides to dump on everything, my street floods. And sometimes it could go up to knee deep. Luckily, my house is elevated in a sense, like it's on a angle, and it's kind of elevated up the top. But it's hard. And then, of course, the house that I'm looking at, because I'm facing one particular way, they have 2 cars. The house behind me has 6 cars. Mm-hmm. And some of the people are very rude. Now, my living situation, I take care of my mom. She has, some needs. She has some, not mobility issues, but, when you're kind of always worried that you might hurt yourself moving around, You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So she parks at the front, and it's easier for her to walk up. Well, we didn't know we had to back up, and there was a nice confrontation with the neighbor that really made me think, okay, so I'm getting my driveway extended too. So
Nice.
add that on top of everything that's gone on this weekend. I haven't gotten the price estimate yet, but I add in the whatever I did, and you'll understand why I'm skipping the July drop.
Oh, I'm sure. Hey, I did more damage than what I originally intended to, so that's okay.
And what's funny is Martin says, hey, what is this, the 5th record store day in like 2 years?
Yeah.
Which it really is. It truly is. Do you have any more life things to tackle before we move on to what we got?
No, I don't think so. I think we can just talk about all the fun stuff we got today.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to go... I'm trying to think of an order to go about doing this. Should I talk about the one that I've talked about to death? Or should I save that for last? That's what I'm trying to figure out. So what I'd like you to do is we could do it this way. We could pick one each to talk about back and forth, or we could talk about the whole damn lot. What would you like to do?
Let's see. I got 5 different releases. How many did you pick up
4.
today?
So
Okay, so do you want to kind of alternate?
Yes. Okay. So
Okay.
you could do maybe the first 2. And
Okay.
then I'll talk about one, and then you, so on and so forth. So go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So the first thing I'm going to talk about, since it's not actually like vinyl, everybody was kind of like pushing me to get this, telling me I needed it, and I saw it, and so I got it. It was a moment of weakness. I didn't plan on it, but I got the Motley Crue 40th anniversary cassette box set.
Yay.
So, like, everybody knows that I really like Motley at this point. If you've watched any of my videos on my YouTube channel, or if you've listened to any of our podcast episodes, you probably have heard me mention them. But this box set has their first 5 albums, all their 80s albums. And I actually just kind of got into collecting cassettes at the end of 2020. And so I saw this and I was like, well, you know what? The price is like $50. It's really not that bad. I could probably find like, used cassettes for probably about the same price. But then, I wouldn't have the box. And then I kind of just decided, you know what? I don't need it. If I, continue to play my cassettes and stuff, I'm sure I'll find some used Motley Crue cassettes at some point. And I really talked myself out of it until yesterday afternoon when I saw Billy Hurst. He has a channel, Riverbend Records, and he just opened a store recently. And so he's participating in Record Store Day this year. And he posted a picture of the set unboxed on his Instagram. And the color of these cassettes were just absolutely gorgeous. Each cassette matches, like the color matches the album on these, and they were just so gorgeous. And I was like, okay, I think I really need these. And then everybody in my little group chat was like, oh my gosh, Marichen, you need them. And then whenever I was talking to you this morning, you were like, do it girl, you need it. And so out of a moment of weakness, I did it because I realized that, it's really not that bad of a price. $40 and you get 5 cassettes and this killer like collector's box set. It's just such a good deal. So it's got Too Fast for Love, Shout at the Devil, Theater of Pain, Girls, 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 and Dr. Feelgood.
Nice.
And you couldn't pass it up. So that was one thing I wasn't planning on getting, but I did get.
Nice. And I'm actually kind of glad to hear that the cassettes actually match. Because that means they actually put a little more thought than, oh, let's just put this out for a little bit of money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally. I was really thrilled about it. Like, I didn't really know if I needed it. Because I was like, I listen to vinyl more than I do cassettes. But yes, I do enjoy collecting the cassettes. But, I don't really need it. That's $50 I could spend on another LP. But turns out some of my stuff actually got moved to the second drop date. So
okay.
It kind of worked out in a weird way that I was able to pick that up. So that was kind of nice. And then I know I've mentioned this one before. I think I kind of talked about it when we went through the list originally. Def Leppard, When the Walls Come Tumbling Down. It's live at the Oxford, April 26, 1980. And I love Def Leppard. I think everybody knows I love Def Leppard, and I always pick up their record store day releases when I can because they're so nice. It's a double LP. You've got some really nice early stuff from Def Leppard on here, so like I'm super excited to hear this because a lot of the live stuff I know from Def Leppard is more modern or like even some of their later kind of era, but not necessarily modern. I've actually gotten to see them live like in 2016, and so it's just so cool to hear live records, especially now because everybody's missing concerts. And so I was super pumped to get this one. This one wasn't like the top of my list because this is just a record store day first, so it will be available again eventually in the future if you didn't pick it up. But it was one that I definitely really wanted if I could find it, and I did. So I was really pumped to get it. I think it's just on standard black. I've not opened it yet actually because I've just kind of got in and been able to go through these and sit down and talk about them. So I'm very, very excited to get to listen to this one.
Nice. It's so cool to hear about that box set because it does have a lot of value to it now that you've kind of said everything.
Definitely.
It does have a lot of value. I'm going to start with one that everybody has already talked about to death just to kind of get it out of the way, but I'm with everybody else. I got Linkin Park's Meteora. This is pressed on aqua blue colored vinyl. Of course, the most famous songs, Numb, Faint, Somewhere I Belong, Breaking the Habit. Definitely not a sophomore slump for Linkin Park. This is one of the best follow-up albums to a debut, in my opinion. And, I was thinking about it when the list had come out and we had done our initial reaction, where I was kind of on the fence. I then heard Somewhere I Belong on the radio, and I'm like, I don't have this. Yeah, I don't have this on vinyl. I love this song so much. I have the live Linkin Park that they had done One More Light live after Chester had passed away. And then I got the Transformers Dark of the Moon soundtrack the next year, or one of the next years, because it had Paramore's Monster on it, which is one of my holy grails. It's like $200+ for like 4 7-inches, which it is what it is. But to get a mix of Monster, but it also has like, I think, Iridescent on there. So, Breaking the Habit, Somewhere I Belong is just one of my favorite songs of all time. I don't know what it is. And of course, Faint. Have you heard the mix-up of Crush, Crush, Crush plus Faint? It's called Crush, Crush, Faint. It was back in, like the good old days of YouTube. Like you could have mashups that are on YouTube, like the Numa Guy era, kind of like early YouTube type stuff. I still visit that remix to this day in all its old glory. And I'm just so very glad. I haven't opened anything either. I literally just finished filming my YouTube video because I didn't want to do any unboxings on there. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I'm very happy with it. And it's on blue. Blue's my favorite color. If it's aqua blue, and if it looks anything like the sticker, I'm going to be a very happy camper. That's like my favorite shade of blue. So I'm very happy with that one. And of course, I was able to help you out and find you a copy.
Yes, that was so kind.
Yeah, it's great because, this is collaborative. You were talking about that person who was trying to help their friend. I helped a friend get the Haim 7-inch, which I almost bought for myself, but then I wanted the one of the jazz releases that didn't end up coming to fruition. And me, I'm like one that I'm okay with things.
Yeah.
When it comes to that, it was the Kenny Dorham Quiet Kenny. It was supposed to be a $25 release, cut by Kevin Gray, master by Kevin Gray at RTI Studios with a rice paper sleeve for $25. You can't beat that for an audiophile.
Right.
It's going for $325 on Discogs right now. Fuck off. Anyway, I knew it was going to be a hard to find release anyway, so I wasn't going to get my hopes up. So I talked myself into something else, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But this was kind of like I had my 3 main that I wanted, which was the Heim 7-inch, which I switched out for the Kenny Durham, and then the one that I'll talk about next was the one that I decided that I just talked myself into last minute. That would be my replacement if the jazz record wasn't there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally.
So I'm happy about that. I think everybody knows Linkin Park Meteora. If you haven't listened to it,
yeah,
you should. It's a really good new metal album.
It is, and it's one of Jared's favorites. It's one he was like looking forward to the most, and we were both so devastated whenever our store didn't get any. So thankfully, Josh was able to pick up an extra copy for us. So that was like super incredibly awesome, and I just want to say a huge thank you, because that was like, he was so upset whenever he couldn't get it, and I felt so bad because I got everything on my immediate want list and a few other things. So, like, I felt so bad that he couldn't even get, like, the one huge thing that he wanted. So, that was really awesome of you to help us out in that way.
Mm-hmm. I've helped out other people as well. There was a Tegan and Sarah release a couple of years ago. Somebody who lived in Canada said, hey, are you going out? I'm willing to pay the extra shipping, everything to get it up there. Just tell me how much it is. We'll figure out the shipping. And I got it to them. That's actually one of my favorite things is, yes, I have to go through the hassle of shipping it out and then sweating bullets until it gets there. But they get to have, yes, it's not on the day, but I get to support my local shop by giving them money. They reimburse me, and they get the thing that they want. And I'm not a middleman where I charge extra. I am literally just, okay, get me enough to cover the shipping, and this is what they're asking for it. And then I try to do like a middle ground a little bit with it to try and include tax too. I'm like, I'm just here already. Just give me the money to buy it and I will get it for you. That's my thing,
Yeah.
And yeah, of course, Needles and Grooves, we do that too. We have like a collaborative list, and they say, list the things that you think are going to be impossible to get. My main 3 things ended up being almost impossible to get. Linkin Park being one of them. Isn't that crazy? I predicted that it was going to be hard to get. Isn't that crazy? I did too.
Yeah, I was sure it was going to be hard to get, but I was hoping our store would at least get 1 copy.
Well, you have a copy basically locked in now. It's just a matter of when I could get out to get it to you.
Hey, no rush whatsoever. I'll actually have to give you our new mailing address too. So I'll do that whenever we get off.
Because I have the previous one before you bought your house. So
yes. So
well, I will update my address book then.
I definitely don't want it going to our old address.
Oh, no. We're not doing that. If anything, I quadruple check where it's sent. I'm like, I check with you like a couple of days before, the day before. I type it up and send you a picture of it. I send you a picture of it in the package saying, is this absolutely it? I am leaving now. I like quad check the address.
Hey, I don't blame you. I want to make sure it gets there.
Yeah. I don't have anything more to say on the Linkin Park. I can't comment on the pressing quality. I literally just got done filming. I haven't opened any of these releases. I'm actually just kind of keeping them in shrink because I have tomorrow and the next day off. Mm-hmm. And I might just leave these sealed for the rest of the day just so I can have that, hey, I have a new record feeling. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I love that little feeling of a new record. It's always
because
so fun.
I also have, I spent money as well beforehand, and I got Mammoth Wolfgang Van Halen. I have the orange vinyl coming in.
Nice.
And I have one little mini rant, if you can allow me. 2 seconds, and then I'm going to toss over to you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so it's shipped out of Crozet, Virginia, which is maybe like not that far away. I'd say maybe 20 minutes out of Richmond. And Richmond is the sorting center for my city, right? It decides to go down 3 hours south to Greensboro, North Carolina.
Of course it does.
I'm okay, because if I leave all these sealed and then get that. Like if I just choose like one at a time, maybe I leave these sealed, and maybe like, that's a good idea. 1, 2, 3. I have 4 or 5. I can make this once a week. I get to pop open a new record. Ooh,
There
I like
you
that
go.
idea. Because I also have those trophy eyes that I need to get with you on that after I go through all my estimates and everything. To get it on that, because I know I bought those off of you. But I have that, and then I have the Amaryllis I still have to listen to. So this might be a point where it's like one a week. I can fill up the tub and then do some random record cleaning and then get to listen to a new record. Ooh,
There
that
you
sounds
go.
nice. Especially because you got the box set. You could make it kind of nice where it's like, oh, I get to open up and see this one. Oh, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm super excited. I'm going to open it on camera and like get my genuine reaction to this. So
yeah, I want one of these is really special to me that I'd rather just make it personal, you know? Like all these, I just kind of want my own personal reaction to it. But I'm going to toss over to you. What is the next release that you bought?
All right. So the next one I bought, I'm going to go with the other two that were like my high priority.
Okay.
So this one that I'm going to talk about is Joni Mitchell Archives Volume 1.
Yay.
I was so excited for this one. This is actually like a CD set. And it's got like, I can't remember how many songs. It's got a lot of songs on it. And this is only 12 tracks from that set. I think it's like a 4 or 5 CD set, honestly. And so you get 12 tracks from that set. I really do want to get the CD set at some point because, again, Joni Mitchell is somebody that we know I all really love.
Mm-hmm.
This one was limited to 15,000, so I was pretty confident I would get this one because it had several copies available. But I am just so excited to hear all these different songs. A lot of these just are so cool. Like there's a demo, different live stuff, like radio station, performance, different, time periods as well. Like this is from 63 to 67. So you've got like a 4-year span of really cool, fun songs going on. And I don't know, it was just something that I absolutely had to have because I have all of her studio albums that are on vinyl. And I definitely want to beef up my CD collection because I would love to have this whole Archives series on CD to listen to the whole thing. But I am just so excited to hear these tracks, and I know once I hear these I'm gonna want that CD set too. But she just has such a beautiful folky voice, and I just absolutely love that. I love relaxing to her music. She's just got this beautiful stage presence that I absolutely love. So I'm so excited to listen to this one. It was one that I knew I had to get. And the guy that owns the record store knew that I was looking for this release. So he handed me this one and then the next one that I'll talk about in a little bit just as soon as I walked in the door because he knew that those two were like my be all and all. I already told him. I was like, if I don't get these two, I'm going to like absolutely cry. So yeah, that was super cool that he just remembered that I said that and handed them to me. So yeah, super glad I have Joni Mitchell.
That was one that was on my radar actually too, because I like Joni Mitchell too. But yeah, it's interesting to hear that. I'd like you to pick. I'm gonna pick one of my impulse buys. Pick the number 1 or 2.
Let's go with 2.
Okay, so one of the last times, this is not what I've picked, but one of the last times you remember when they did the Ramones live? It was like last year.
Yeah.
For one of the drops. I was just kind of eyeing it just randomly. My mom said, all right, you're going to get that for Christmas. Just put it in the pile and then we'll hide it, right?
Uh-huh.
So she basically had me pick one random one out of the lot. I wasn't expecting this. This is why I spent a little bit more money. But just pick a random one out of the lot. If, kind of things going the way they went. But it's like, I could have went with the Kenny Loggins, but I decided with this one. I went with Prince's The Truth.
Oh, nice. I heard a lot of people get excited about that one.
This is raw acoustic guitar charge collection on vinyl for the very first time. This, I think, came with originally in a CD box set. There is it's acoustic, but some kind of synth. I apologize if I'm butchering the names of these songs, but it's The Truth, Don't Play Me, Circle of Armor, Third Dione, Man in a Uniform, Animal Kingdom, The Other Side of the Pillow, Fascination, One of Your Tears, Come Back, and Welcome to the Dawn acoustic version. And it's gold stamped. All of the songs are gold stamped. And Prince's logo, remember he went for a while there by the artist formerly known as Prince, and then he just went by the logo name. It has that. If you want a full in-depth unboxing, Mike over at the In-Groove did an unboxing of this one. But I'm interested to hear these because I have Prince for You, his very first album. And, I've kind of skipped on some of the Record Store Day releases because I wasn't that jazzed about it. But it being acoustic was really kind of awesome. And it was either between this or Neon Christ, which Neon Christ is William Duvall's first band before he joined Alice in Chains. As I was kind of looking around, a dude grabbed the last one, so I'm like, yeah, no, I'm going to go grab Prince.
Hey, there you go.
So that was the major impulse curve. I was not expecting to get that. But we were kind of looking at it saying, which one's going to be there? Which one's going to be more hard to find? You could grab all those Kenny Loggins songs you could grab on one of his albums. You can probably find a bunch of his albums at the thrift store,
Very true, yeah.
But it's Prince. Prince is going to be hard to find stuff. And I'm like, I hate to be the one that buys all the Bowie, McCartney, Prince archival releases, but kind of like that Morrison Hotel Sessions, which both of us are we get it, but we're still baffled by it. You know what I'm saying?
I'm honestly surprised that so many people want it. I know there are a lot of fans of the Doors out there, and I'm not knocking the Doors, but
of course.
Oh my god, there's 10 or more versions of the same damn song. I get that they're all different and it's different takes and stuff like that, but how many times are you going to listen to the same damn song on one album?
Right.
That's just ridiculous.
It's not for us. You know what I'm saying? It's it's just not for us.
Oh, yeah. No, because, I love Fleetwood Mac, but I didn't buy, the alternate Mirage or Rumors or the self-titled. I didn't buy any of those because, I don't really need it. I have the actual album. I don't really sit down and listen to a lot of demos and outtakes and stuff like that. So, what's the point to me? It's not something I'm going to listen to. It'd be more novelty for me. And, I don't really know. It's just never clicked with me. I've never, been the biggest, person of, oh, I have to have this because it's an alternate version or that or blah, 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 blah. And so, I'm just... I didn't need it.
Mm-hmm.
Totally, it was unnecessary.
Totally feel you on that. I don't have much more to say on that, but so let's toss it over to you. What's your next buy that you want to talk about?
All right, so I'm going to go with my biggest want for this drop day, and it is Elton John's unreleased album, Regimental Sergeant Zippo. So this was originally intended to be his debut album, but it got shelved and never released. And so I am super pumped to hear this. Apparently it was recorded 1967 and 1968, and the release is actually pressed in mono. The album art for this is just absolutely funky, psychedelic, groovy looking, just amazing. And Mike over at the In-Groove actually did an unboxing of this one as well, and it just looked so gorgeous, and I was so pumped about this one. This one was also a first release, so if you didn't get your hands on it, it will be available in the future. But I absolutely had to have this now because I have to listen to this. I have to know what this album is, because his whole career could have been altered by putting this out instead of Empty Sky.
Yep.
So, like, I'm going to be very interested in hearing this. I think this is probably going to be the first one that I listen to once I get these all clean. But I'm just so excited. And I know this is on black vinyl. I don't think there's anything really super special in here. At least that I remember from the unboxing, because I've not opened mine yet. But the packaging looks so gorgeous. And it was made in Germany. I mean, the packaging is just super well done. Everything about this release just looks amazing. And I am so, so excited to finally listen to this, because ever since this has been like released as one of the titles you could pick up, I have had to have this. It's just been the thing that has been eating at my brain since I saw the list.
Yeah, that was kind of on my almost. If I didn't go with Prince, I probably would have went with the Elton John one. But hearing that it's a first and that I might have a chance at it, is kind of cool. Even if it just comes out digitally, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'd love to hear it, even if like the next release is just digital, which I'd be fine with. I'd be interested in hearing it. I'm interested to be a fly in the wall to hear a little bit of that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, I know. It was something I had to have, being a big Elton fan, because, I mean, he's just so amazing and so talented. And so for, like, this to be shelved and never released, and then all of a sudden, here we go, I'm just like, okay, yes, I have to know what this is.
Mm-hmm. And it'll be interesting to kind of take a look back, because I think Billy Joel really absolutely hated his debut album.
Mm-hmm.
So it might be interesting not to hear from, that, but to see why it was shelved. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you're totally right about that, with that curiosity.
I'm going to be, like, really excited, because I really loved his debut. I love Empty Sky. I think it's an amazing album, and I think it's very underappreciated in terms of his discography. I don't think a lot of people talk about it like they should.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious to see what he shelved in order to put out that album.
Right.
So
I'm with you on that.
That's going to be fun.
I'm going to follow suit with you, and I'm going to talk about the number one want on my list, Warren Zevon Preludes. I've become quite the Warren Zevon fan. I haven't bought anything on vinyl for whatever reason, and it's the story behind it that won me over. This is Preludes. This is rare and unreleased recordings, and normally you know what you're talking about, like how many times can you listen to a song, but it's the story behind this. So Warren unfortunately is no longer with us. He passed away quite some years ago from 2003 from mesothelioma. And it was caught too late. He died at the age of 56. That hits kind of home with how young my dad was when he passed away. But his son was basically kind of rummaging through his things and found this piano case full of old recordings. Some of them are demos of songs that came to be. Some of them are just musings that he happened to record down. And they picked a bunch of them and they put them out in a CD set. This replicates that CD set, but I think my favorite part of this is, and I could go through the songs real quick: Empty Hearted Town, Steady Rain, Join Me in LA, Hasten Down the Wind, Where I Was London. They had to print that to get people to buy it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's his big song, but it has Tools, Blues, The French Inhaler, Going on the Way, Poor Pitiful Me, Studebaker, Accidentally Like a Martyr, Carmelita, I Used to Ride So High, Stop, Rain and Lord, The Rosarita, Beach Cafe, Desperados Underneath. I'm reading the CD version. Working Man's Pay, Frozen Notes, and Some Kind of Rider. But on disc 2, they included a full interview with Warren.
Oh, nice.
Discourse, Warren waxes and wanes on songwriting, LA, modern classical music, the early days of his career, and playing the guitar versus the piano. Music's on morality, song noir, religion in his music, and the king of rock and roll. Chat about the producers of Life Will Kill Ya, Young's Dark Sound, because he wrote Life Will Kill You and after he got the diagnosis and he knew he was not long for this world. When this was announced, I watched one of his last late night performances. It was when David Letterman was still, hosting. And my favorite song of his is Roland the Headless Thompson Gunner. And that performance, was just so powerful. You can tell I'm close to crying. Just him coming on, and this was his last interview before he died, and he knew it was coming. So I want to hear that, but the entirety of that interview is on the final side of this album, and it just makes it feel that extra special. And they could have just went bare bones and did the 2 LP. No, they replicated the CD booklet in its own a nice booklet. Yes, you can only do so and so much with booklets, but it's a full vinyl-sized booklet, and they put it in this really nice, just packaging. It's almost like it's a box set, and I really appreciated that because I had passed so many times on his music, and I thought, why not start at the end and then work my way through? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's such a special release.
And there was only, I think he got 2 of them, and I couldn't find it. I was so busy trying to do everything. He's like, Martin said, did you find it? I said, no, it's right here. And I was like, I had to hug it.
Aww.
This is going to be the one I probably open first, because I paid a pretty penny for it. It was not cheap.
Yeah.
But,
I saw it at my store, too.
Do you mind asking how much they charge at your store off the top of the head? If you remember.
I think it was probably somewhere between 40 and 50, I think.
I paid $45 for it. But it was worth every penny to me because...
Oh, I'm sure it is. It looked really beautiful.
And there was somebody who got it early and leaked it with what the pictures looked like, but they didn't say how it sounded. But if it looks as good as it sounds, if it sounds as good as it looks... I know there's going to be some clicking and popping. That's normal course for new vinyl. But even if, I'm just sitting here listening to it, it'll feel like I'm listening to... And I know what people are going to say, you really shouldn't care about the clicks and pops of the vinyl. What are you, some crazy person? No. Some of the vinyl I have is from my parents, and it's just the way it is. So I don't mind the clicks and pops if it feels like I'm actually listening to an old interview. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, hey, honestly, I don't mind them either because I, like you, have some of my parents' records or some of my parents' friends' records, and so, I don't really mind hearing that because obviously, they didn't take great care of their records.
Yeah.
Like everyone pushes to now, and so, they have those clicks and pops where they've been loved and abused, and... So it doesn't bother me. It just makes it feel that much more special.
Yeah, unless it's one that really messes with your listening experience. I have the Rock-A-Rolla release, and it has just a nice big old scratch on the B side, so I just listen to the A side.
Oh, no.
And it's one that it sounds like half the side. So
oh, no.
I never reached out to the label. It's fine. I didn't pay that much money for it. But I did reach out when my Spoon record wasn't good, and I have a nice copy now, which is great. And then I traded the Act copy. I traded with somebody else and got something different for it. So it all worked out in the end, I have one more release. I don't know how many more you have, but I'd rather you finish up and then I finish up, and then we can kind of do, thoughts on everything. Because I know you had a story.
Yeah. The last one I have has my story. I saved it for last mainly because of the story.
Okay.
It was kind of one that I wanted, but I wasn't going to be disappointed if I didn't get this release. So I'll go ahead and talk about what the release is, and then I'll tell my story on it.
Go for it.
So the album that I picked up is Chromatica by Lady Gaga. It is her most recent album. And so I know this album is already readily available. but they did a deluxe packaging for this. It's got a trifold, a 28-page never-before-seen book, a collectible zine, never-before-seen images, and it is on a translucent yellow vinyl. So this is, a pretty nice upgrade, because when they originally released this album on vinyl, I believe there were like various different colorways for this, but it was in just like kind of the packaging that a picture disc comes in, like that clear plastic stuff. And I always held back on getting it because of that packaging, because it wasn't anything really great, So when this got announced, I was like, heck yeah, if I see it, I'll get it. And there's even actually a standard black copy of this that was released on Friday, June 11th. So this is still going to be something that's readily available if you do want like this deluxe packaging. I don't think the standard black was limited the way that it's been marketed. I think that it's going to be pretty easy to find. I know for sure you could pre-order it from her web store. I'm sure record stores will be getting it. But anyway, this was one that I said I wanted, but again, like if I couldn't find it, I would eventually get the standard black, just because the packaging is much nicer. So I went in, and I of course got my main wants and was helping Jared look for his stuff and just kind of looking through to see if anything caught my eye that was on my kind of maybe list. Mm-hmm. And I saw Chromatica. So I knew that there was somebody behind me kind of waiting for me to get done looking in the bin. But what I didn't realize is that it was somebody who was looking for the Chromatica release. And as soon as I saw it and I went to go grab it, because I'm flipping through a bin, I see a hand come over my shoulder, and I have my hand on it, by now. And I pick it up, and this guy legitimately growls at me. And I have never in my life had somebody reach over me and growl at me because I picked up a copy of an album. I was so shocked. I thought this guy was actually going to get physical for a minute, because he was so gruff and rude about me touching this record. And immediately I looked at him, and one of the guys that helps out on Record Store Day come over and was like, hey dude, what's up? What can I help you find? And immediately took him somewhere else to go look for this record. There were 11,000 of these that are on yellow. So, this should be something that was pretty easy to find. I think our store had several copies of this, for sure. And it stunned me, because I've never in my life had somebody so aggressive about a release. And to think this is just a yellow copy. There's a standard black copy. There's, different silver and white and clear copies that have come out. This is nothing that is hard to find. And so I think that's what stuns me the most, is it's not even a release that was really limited, 2,000 copies or less or something like that. This was a pretty broad release, and it's still going to be readily available after today. And I'm still in shock. I was honestly really freaked out this morning and kind of upset about it after it happened. Now I kind of think it's more funny than anything. But I was just so shocked.
I wish you could see my face right now. I'm trying to think in my head what was going through this person's mind at all. The goblin in their brain, which I heard that on a YouTube video, and that's my new favorite phrase. Goblin in the brain. And another one is degenerate with moon brain. Goblin in my head. So I'm thinking what degenerate with moon brain would do that? I get the love of Lady Gaga being that, so in there. But
oh yeah,
there's going to be more copies than just this one, right?
Right, exactly.
I could get, oh, I see a kitty across the street. I'm looking outside and there's a 2-story window and there's a kitty sitting in the window as I'm looking. Anyway, squirrel. No, it's kind of crazy because I can't think of a logical reason. Like if somebody got the last name on Christ, oh well, be civil about things. Come on now.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I can't logically.
Do you see why I saved it for last? Because this was such a good story.
What? I'm trying to think logically. What would go through somebody's...
Like,
what?
Everybody in the group chat was laughing at me.
What?
They were like, oh my gosh. Yeah. It was crazy. Like, I've never... And okay, I'm not like a person to stereotype or be rude or judge somebody based off of what they look like, but this guy is Gen Z, for sure. And you can tell that he is part of the LGBTQ plus community, which is not a knock at anyone a part of the community. It's just he had that appearance, like you can kind of tell by somebody's appearance. And I'm not trying to be rude or like stereotypical when I say that, because I literally do not care who you like or don't like. But I kind of figured he would go for some of the more modern releases like the Gaga or Ariana Grande, which were actually the two that he picked up. I thought, maybe he'd be interested in some of like the rap and hip hop type stuff that they're releasing, just kind of based on what he looked like. And, I knew that none of the older generation probably would really pick up this Gaga release. And there were a ton of people that were, my parents' age and older there. So I know that Matt said there were several copies of this one, so to have several copies and for us to be like the only two younger generation peoples in the store, like, I don't know, it freaked me out. It was so weird. So like my store actually has 4 separate bins that they put stuff up in, and they of course put stuff up on the wall too. But Jared was looking in the first bin when you walk in, and I was actually looking in the one closest to the wall. So we're on the opposite sides of the store, so he didn't really see this go down. But, I'm flipping through looking for my stuff. Matt already handed me, like, my main 2 wants. So I was mainly looking for, like, the Def Leppard release and just some other stuff that I randomly had on my list if it was there. And so when I saw the Def Leppard release, I like kind of put it in my hand and I was like, okay, and then I flipped it and the next one was Chromatica. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna pick them both up. And like when he, like, I kid you not, like I didn't even know that it was happening until it happened. Out of the corner of my eye, just arm right in front of me. And then when I like put my hand on it and he like growled and I turned around and I was like, dude, like I don't even know what to say because I'm literally not about to physically fight you over a fucking record.
What's the beef? What's the beef?
Right. Like, okay, he's definitely Gen Z and I am considered Gen Z, but I feel like I'm in this weird
middle ground,
like period. Yeah. Like, cause I'm born in 99 and Gen Z starts at like 95 or 96, whatever. But I feel like there's that weird little period that like I associate with a lot of millennial stuff. And I kind of associate with some of the Gen Z stuff, but I'm not really either. Mm-hmm. But this guy, he was definitely a little bit younger than me. Just kind of like the high school type age. And that's like no knock to any Gen Z or anything. But it was just like, it was rude. And I've never, ever had any of the older men, even like when they breathe down my neck in past record store days, they're always like, hey, can you hand me that release? That's what I'm looking for. And I will gladly hand you a release. I am not the person that's like, you can't look here because I'm looking here. If you say you want something and I see it, I'm going to be like, hey, I have this. Do you need this still? I will gladly hand you something. And if you want to look while I'm looking, I have no problem with that. There's 4 bins. There's 8 people that are allowed in the store. So I don't care that somebody buddies up and looks at what I'm looking at. But to, like, growl at me and, like, get so upset, I was just like, oh my gosh. Like, I thought he was, like, going to actually try and, like, take it from my hands. And try and take it from me. Like, I honestly, I didn't even know it was going to happen, but I am so thankful that somebody in his store, like, saw him get kind of, like, aggressive about it and come over and was like, dude, okay, we have more of Chromatica. Let me help you go find a copy. Because I honestly don't know what would have happened if nobody would have seen that play out.
I'm still at a loss for words.
I know, like, I was so shook when it happened. I couldn't even tell Jared it happened till we got in the car because I was just, like, so surprised. And I remember I called my mom and I talked to her and I was telling her about it. And she was like, well, did you tell Matt? And I was like, no, but trust me, I will. Like, it'll be a story for the next time I go in there. And not to, like, shit on the guy.
Right.
And I don't even know this guy's name. I've never, ever seen this guy at a record store day before. You know, and I know nothing about this guy. But, you know, he got there probably 5:30, 6 o'clock. I had been waiting since 3:30 in the morning. You know, so excuse me for being one of the first few people in line and picking up a release that I'm sort of interested in. Because it was one that I told myself if I saw it and it looked as cool as it did on the post I'd seen, I was going to get it. And it does. It looks amazing from what I can tell, you know, just it being sealed and stuff. But I was so stunned. Like, I didn't even know what to, like, think. It was just so, I've never had that happen to me before. Like, that is the definite, just weirdest experience I've ever had.
Also, I'm sorry you went through that. You know, we talk about, you know, respecting different generations and all that on this podcast, which we do. But the chutzpah to do that.
Yeah.
The chutzpah. Really? Like,
yeah. And like I said, I'm not trying to, like, say just because he is Gen Z or because he looked like this or that or whatever. Like, I honestly, I don't care about any of that. I'm just kind of, like, trying to tell
you're trying to paint the image. Look,
yeah.
I have Lady Gaga myself. I have, like, at least one release. I like Lady Gaga. I'm like a casual, so it's like I didn't know anything on Chromatica. That's why I didn't kind of go for it. I was there, like, during the original, like, when her stuff was first coming out, and
yeah,
nothing against the fans, but it's kind of like, you know, the toxic fans in certain, like, certain, like, music genres or, like, for certain artists.
Yeah.
The stories I've heard for Lady Gaga's people make this seem tame.
Yeah, it's definitely a crazy fandom, and honestly, like, I'm not, like, super, super huge, like, into the fandom. I enjoy her music.
I do too.
You know, I definitely have a lot of memories with her early albums. Chromatica is one that I've not listened to as much as her early stuff, and I honestly don't think it's better than her early stuff. But it's still something that I enjoy, and, you know, I'd held off on buying it on vinyl because of the plasticky packaging. And so, you know, I told myself if I don't get the yellow, it's going to be on standard black. And like I said, from everything I've kind of read, it was going to be a readily available, just like deluxe kind of version of the album. So if you couldn't get the record store day yellow, you still have the option of getting it on standard black, which I know a lot of the younger generation that's like my age that are getting into vinyl are probably doing it for like the aesthetic or the color of the record, things like that. I know that people are out there doing that, and that if that's what you want to collect and the way you want to collect, that's fine. But I just don't even understand. Like, to me, it's music, and I don't care what color it's on. It's just having the album. And sure, colors are nice and fun, but, you know, if I didn't get this record, I wasn't going to be upset. I wasn't going to cry about it. I would have bought the standard black eventually. And honestly, like, at that point, if it was the last in the store and this guy really wanted it or whatever, I would have taken it just out of spite because he was so freaking rude about it.
Yeah.
I've had old men not even on Record Store Day, just in record stores in general, judge me because I'm a young, blonde female who, you know, looks like she knows nothing about records and music, apparently. I've had people judge me so harshly because of my age. And to have somebody my age, like, get so pissed and judge me based on the couple of classic rock records I picked up, it blows my mind. Like, I still am just so shocked about it and how it happened, because it just all happened so fast. Like, I knew he was there looking over my shoulder, looking at, you know, the releases or whatever, and I was fine with that. You know, that didn't bug me one bit. But to just, like, reach over my shoulder and, like, growl at me, like, I don't even.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how to follow that up.
I know, right? Like, I told you, my story was great.
It is. It's great. It's what? I don't know. You're right. You know, even then, like, if it was like a very, very limited release, you got there before. You have dibs.
Yeah, right.
You made the commitment to get there before. You should have dibs and have that first chance at opportunity of getting it.
Right, exactly. And, you know, like, we were in the first group of people that got to go in. Because, like, once the first group of 8 people go in, like, let's say 2 people come out, 2 more people can go in type thing, you know? So we were, like, legitimately in the first group of people, and there was no way in hell he wouldn't have gotten this release, you know?
Right.
And there was more than one copy. I honestly, like, if he would have said, hey, can I have it? I probably would have just given it to him and went to look for another copy myself. But, like, to growl at me, like, I've, like, what?
Yeah. And what's kind of weird is, this is what I like to do, is talk to people kind of nearby me to see what they have. And it really just depends on the time. Like, if they have their back to you and they're just standing waiting in line, you're obviously not going to talk. But in past record store days, I've talked to the people in front of me and behind me to see what they're looking for. Because one time I wanted, I talked about it earlier, it was the Dark of the Moon soundtrack. And yes, it was a record store day first. I don't know if it's been pressed yet again. But it had Monster, which is a Grail song for me to have on vinyl, even if it's a different mix. So, Martin got one copy. He was looking for something halfway across the store in the World Music Room. I said, can you grab that for me because you're in front of me, and I'm going this way. I'll see if they have it, and then we'll do an exchange. Worked out perfectly. Boom, boom. You know, be nice in line, and, you know, if you have to buddy up like that, you know, great. Like, if you were doing that, I'd say, hey, if you're not getting that, can you grab that for me so I can get out of your hair? Manners is the key takeaway here.
Yeah, for real. Like, that's literally, like, my only issue. Like, the nerve, the cojones,
the chutzpah.
Like, I still don't even understand. Like, there was 2 older gentlemen in front of me and my husband, and then there was another older gentleman behind us, and then the lady that was kind of new to everything that I talked about in the beginning of the episode. And then it was this guy, and I guess his friend, whoever, I don't really know, somebody was with him. And so I kind of talked to those 4 people on either side of us. And we had kind of mentioned, you know, just like small talk type things. And again, you know, talking about releases we're looking for, stuff like that. But this kid, like, had his headphones in the whole time he was there and never really talked to anybody. And so, I mean, like I said, I kind of stereotyped him and was like, oh, he's here for the more modern type stuff. Which I guess when you look at me, you probably think that as well because, you know, I'm a younger female. But, you know, and I really didn't care what he bought. He did end up getting both of the albums he wanted because he checked out before we did. So, you know, I'm glad he got what he wanted. But, like, I'm stunned at how rude he was about it. And, like, a lot of people in my generation say that the boomers are the ones that are rude. And sure, there are rude boomers out there, but there are just as rude people in Gen Z. And I have experienced that today. And, you know, I'm sure he was tired, but so was I. We were all tired. We'd been up sitting there for hours. You know, I had probably been up more so than him because I got there earlier. So, you know, like, we all have our own stuff that we're dealing with when we go. And I think the biggest lesson for this, if you're listening, is to just be courteous to people. Because there was literally no need for any of what went down at all. You know? And like I said, if the guy would have said, oh, hey, are you grabbing that Lady Gaga? I probably would have just given it to him and looked in another bin for it and been fine. But, like, the sheer fact that he was just so rude about it, I was like, no, I'm taking this copy. I'm gonna do it.
Yep, totally. Oh.
But yeah, I know, right? Like I told you, I had a good story. It was a good story, was it not?
That was an amazing story, and yeah, of course we don't like. Just...
We'll never have another good story like this on this podcast.
We might. You never know. But it's. I know you're trying to paint the picture. We're not stereotyping this and that, but you know, if a person's like closed off, this and that, they don't hear anything. Just to growl. I still can't get over that.
Yeah, I mean, like, legitimately, and everybody was laughing, because I sent him a video, like, because I was just, like, so in shock of everything that happened, so I sent a video explaining it to my friends in the group chat, and everyone was like, oh my gosh, that growl, lol, and I'm like, but it's so true, like, he just went, ugh! Like, he was upset, and I was like,
how dare you purchase the same thing that I'm looking for? I'm the only person here, like, and I'm the only one that is looking for this. No one else should look for this.
Right, it was like he hulked out or something. I was waiting for him to, you know, turn green and bulk up or something like that. I was just like, oh my gosh, what the heck?
So, before we move on to my last release, did you get the poster by chance?
I did. I got the poster, and then there were actually a couple of different bags. We got the white one with the blue handles.
With the Fred Armisen. I got RSD Drops Summer 2021. It's a pink bag via Warner Records. It's a black and pink bag. I love this design.
Nice.
And then I got both of the pins. One that says who the Record Store Day ambassador and then the drops. And then I got a freaking bandana with a record on it from Tito's Vodka. It is so cool. Like, I'll send you a picture after we're done recording. The design on this thing is just so cool. Like, I'm probably going to pin this up in this record room. Because the person that came with me also got one. So they're going to have their own. But I open this up like, this is so cool. Like,
that's awesome.
This little trinket. And honestly, out of all the Record Store Day, I'm actually looking at them right now. I'm trying to look at them. Out of all of these, this is the best poster since the first time I got a poster.
Honestly, like, this is my favorite poster of any of the Record Store Days I've been to. I think it's so
my
cool.
favorite, I'll send you a picture of it at the time. It's this blue monster. You know, he has, like, you know, a drink or something in his hand. And he's just putting the needle down. His eyes are closed, and he's like, yes, I cannot wait to listen to this. It is so cute. So cool. And then they come out with this robot-inspired sci-fi, and I'm like, you know,
so cool,
last
right?
year was kind of okay, but this is like, I love it. So, would you like to hear about my final release?
Yeah, let's hear it.
I picked. So I was torn between. I picked up a live release, and I was torn between a couple of them: Rage Against the Machine, The Police. But this band, I don't have anything for. I almost picked up The Fix or one of the Ronald Palmers, but I was like, I don't have anything for this. And I heard the song on the radio. I'm like, I gotta have this. It's the Tears for Fears live album. So it's live at Macy Hall, Toronto, Canada, 1985. So it has Mother's Talk, Broken, Head Over Heels, / Broken, Pale Shelter, Memories Fade, Start of the Breakdown, The Prisoner, I Believe, The Working Hour, Mad World, Everybody Wants to Rule the World, The Hurting, and Shout. Now, normally, sometimes, and I've said this in the YouTube video, you're probably hearing this after the YouTube video or before. Whenever I get this up, it's probably going to be after. Because I'm the one that edits everything. It. I just when you go to a particular concert, it's not to the point like I'm going to see that one band that was in that soundtrack. It's to the point where you kind of know a couple of their things, but it's like I'm kind of interested to hear some other stuff. That's how I got into Pearl Jam. Was I knew the handful of songs and I fell in love after seeing them live. So that's kind of why I wanted that. I was like, I want something kind of adjacent to something I don't have that has songs I know on there, but I'm going to get to discover some new music along the way. And that was
That's
my
nice.
curveball last minute decision third. Because I had picked my main two, which was the Linkin Park and the Warren Zevon. And then I was like, I'm just going to pick a random third because I wanted the Haim with Taylor Swift. And I'm like, it's a 7-inch though. I really thought about it. I'm like, if I'm going to go all out and spend a little bit more money, I'm going to spend a little bit more. And I originally wanted that jazz release, and then I swapped it out for this. I am very happy with this, and I'm glad that I was able to get you the Linkin Park. My buddy actually opened his, and what's interesting is there's a standard paper sleeve for the first disc and a polyline sleeve for the second disc.
Interesting.
It'll be interesting when I open that up. Because I'm definitely opening up the Warren Zevon today. I might open up the 2 and then save the other 2. I don't know. But I'm definitely going to be taking a look at that Warren Zevon hopefully today or tomorrow. Yeah, it's weird.
I mean, I had a good day.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the experience was fun. And honestly, the whole story situation, that's something I've kind of like come to laugh about, because it's just like, you can't make this shit up. Like, the fuck.
That sounds like if you spit it the right way, you could do a stand-up comedy on it.
I honestly probably could. Like, people are gonna be like, she's making this shit up. No, but like, you literally cannot make people up. Honestly, like, it is just, it was so crazy. It was unlike anything I've ever experienced. And I mean, before this record store day, the craziest experience I had was one time. I was 15, so I had just kind of gotten into collecting, and it was like my first record store day, and it was when they released the Ramones singles box set. And our store only got one. I bought it. This guy comes running in. Do you have the Ramones singles box set? I went to the other store in town and they didn't have it, and I thought maybe you guys would have it. And I guess that they told him, like, because I kind of walked out about the time he come in. I guess they told him that I bought the only one, and he runs to the parking lot. Hey, excuse me, can I buy that from you? I'll pay you double what you just paid. And I was like, no. But like, that was the weird, but he wasn't even rude about it. He was just like desperately wanting it.
And I'd feel uncomfortable if that happened personally.
I did, because it was an older man. I mean, when I say older, I mean probably about like my mom's age or so. And I was with my mom, but like, I wasn't mad that he wanted to buy the release and that he wanted it. I wasn't really upset or anything. And I give the guy props for asking and can I buy it off of you? But no, I didn't want to sell it. I just bought it. And looking back, it's one of the records I don't play as much anymore. So I'm actually selling it to one of my friends, because I mentioned that crazy story actually Thursday. Or no, yesterday, actually, whenever we were talking in the chat, because we were talking about Record Store Day. And I had mentioned that story to him. I was like, that's the craziest thing that's ever happened to me on Record Store Day. And he was like, man, that's one I'm still like in search for. And I'm like, well, you know what? I have all these songs on vinyl now. I don't really listen to 7 inches as much as I used to. I went through like this really weird phase with 7 inches, so it's yours if you want it kind of thing. And so he's buying it off of me.
Nice.
Which is, it's weird to think of, like, I could have just let that guy buy it or whatever, but at the time it was something I really, really wanted, and I don't regret buying it whatsoever, because I loved it and I played it a lot when I first got it. And it was the first thing I had from the Ramones on vinyl, because I was still kind of new to collecting and stuff, and it had, a lot of their big singles on it. It was just amazing, and so I, like, honestly, I don't regret it, but that was, like, the weirdest thing for me was that up until now. Like this record store day has definitely been the weirdest experience.
Yeah.
Out of all of them.
I don't have anything else to add on this. I think this is probably a good time to end it. I don't have anything else to add because what else can you do? That's crazy.
I know, right? I told you my story was
If you've
great.
been listening up to this point, write down in the comments below if you've had a crazy experience at the record store. And also, if you've been listening to anything cool, or if you picked up anything for Record Store Day, still have nowhere. I'm probably going to all day dedicate all the leftover brain power that I have, the little bit of fuel that I have left, to try and get into the mindset of this person that would even act like that, and I probably will never get it.
Yeah, I don't get it either, and I'm considered a Gen Z, so yeah. I don't
People,
know.
man. People.
I know, right? People.
Do you have any
Crazy.
closing thoughts?
No, I think I had a fun day, and I'm glad that I got everything I wanted, essentially.
Same here. Be kind to yourselves. It's a crazy world out there, but we're getting through it day by day, and we're slowly moving back towards regular. And in about 3 or so hours, about 4 hours, I'm going to go listen to Bennett play some live music at the local brewery, which is like right down the road. So I'm hoping to get a nap in before then. As soon as we're done here, I'm probably going to go lay down for a nap. I think you should too, if you have a chance, because we both need to recharge. We need to recharge. We're probably to the point of delirious chaos, happy, silly laughing because of the chaos that happened, but we're probably both tired as hell.
Oh, yeah.
I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week when you're listening to this, day, whatever time. And as I say at the end of everything that I am in, when the waters get rough, please keep on sailing. Even if you feel like no one else believes in you, we do. You are loved. You are wanted. We love you here at the Collector's Confessional podcast. Thank you so much for listening when you do and when we can get on here and do this. You are loved and you are wanted. Always remember that. Take care. Hey folks, real quick before we end the video, I am actually guesting on a buddy's podcast. It's called the MoeCast. Link will be available in the description below. Thanks again for watching. Take care.